Hello again, Travis Simlinger here, coming to you from Progressive Coaching, located in Zurich, Switzerland. And today I thought I'd jump on here and share a quick video on the way that I sometimes lead people to certain realizations or insights through the use of a story when they tell me they feel like they are not good enough. When a person says to me, I'm not good enough, and I hear this almost every day, because this is the most common limiting belief out there. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not somehow good enough. So I'm going to just go through this like someone has just said to me, I'm not good enough. And I say, okay, interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your belief with me. What led you to this conclusion that you are somehow not good enough? And the person will say a whole heap of reasons. Oh, because I am not as smart as my peers at work, or I didn't do good in the meeting, or whatever. They give me a whole list of reasons. And I say, okay, I feel obliged to share one of my beliefs with you as well. So I actually have a belief that my children ruin my life. They make my life completely miserable. My children make my life miserable. And just so that you know that I'm not just making this up, I'll give you the reasons why. Okay, I'll justify my belief to myself and to you. So the reasons are because, well, they're very loud. Sometimes I'm trying to do work and my children are very loud and it just makes me miserable. And other times my children, they don't listen to what I say. I tell them 100 times and they don't listen. They don't do as they're told. And I mean, sometimes they even shit in their own pants. And I've got to clean up this mess, or they wake up crying in the middle of the night and they don't care that I have work at 6 and I've got to get up at 4 and see what's wrong with them. And they just make my life miserable. Person normally gets a bit of a shock when I say all this. And I say, but see, can I come up with reasons if I want why the children made my life miserable? He's like, yes. And I say, okay, but here's maybe a better question. What is the effect of me justifying this belief to myself? What is the effect? How does this affect me emotionally, do you think? And he'll say, or she'll say, geez, it's making you miserable. And I say, what's making me miserable? My children, or the fact that I believe this terrible thought about my children? And the penny starts to drop. And I say, but it's true though, isn't it? It's true. I told you the reasons. Isn't it true though that we can always find reasons? We can always justify a negative thought to ourselves. Okay, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. Okay, what if I were to say, I actually love my children because, they are the most beautiful little souls. When they're smiling and laughing, there's nothing warms your heart more than that. Okay, they're a little mini version of us, and they're like little comedians, my boys, and they just do the funniest stuff, and they make me so proud, and they just fill me up, absolutely fill me up with love. What would be the effect of me believing that? Would it be different? Would the effect be different depending on the belief that I choose? Person's like, yes, very different. A little bit different or very different, polar opposites. So I would feel very different depending on the truth that I chose, because if we come down to it, aren't both of these the truths that I gave, that they do keep me up at night, or the truth that they are beautiful little souls and little comedians and fill me up with love, aren't these both true? So I tell this little story so when someone tries to justify their belief and they feel so adamant and they guard their beliefs, they almost feel bad that you're trying to take their belief off them. So they justify it to be congruent with themselves. But what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. We can choose what truth we buy into, what truth we believe, what truth we operate out of. And depending on what truth we operate out of will determine where we live emotionally. And where we live emotionally is the quality of our life. It will determine our actions, because we will do certain things or not do certain things depending on the emotional state that we are in at a time. And this is determined by what we are believing, and the thoughts and beliefs we are operating out of are going to determine how we feel, which is our emotions, which is going to determine what we do, which is going to influence our outcomes in life. And all this is affected just by one little belief. What do you think about that? Is what I normally ask the person. In fact, you can write your answer in the comments. What do you think about what I've said there? Agree, disagree? And then what I usually say to the person is, so would you like to tell me some more reasons why this belief is true? Or would you like to talk about how this belief is affecting you? What is the outcome of this belief that you've chosen to buy into? And if it's self-defeating you as opposed to self-serving you, do you think it would be a good idea to possibly replace this belief? Choose a different truth, choose a different story. Because when you do that, you choose a different life. That's the message of today's quick content. How powerful our beliefs are. And the reason I gave you this story is kind of a pattern interrupt for people and for ourselves. When we get stuck in a story and we start listing reasons why our story is true, but all we're doing there is trying to justify why we are feeling bad, which is extremely maladaptive, extremely self-defeating. Why would we want to do that? The reason we do that is to be congruent to, we have a belief, we want to be congruent with our belief. You know, we want to be congruent with, justify the way that we've been treating ourselves, so we don't think that, you know, it creates this cognitive dissonance otherwise. But once we show a person and show ourselves just the choice that we actually do have, you know, everything shifts. Thanks, everybody. I hope this was useful content. As always, please give the video a thumbs up and a share, and leave a comment, because it really helps the video to get out to more people who will benefit from this content. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.